Welcome to the session 1 of object-oriented concepts. Discuss about the constructor. So now, just look at this example right now. Just look at this program example, C++ program. So where we are going to have a class exp and a variable a, and we have got two member functions. And this two member functions has been intentionally made to be public. And this set function, as we are seeing this, the set function has been defined outside the class. Hence, we are going to use the scope resolution operator with the class name and the function name, which doesn't take any parameter. So basically, this function is used to initialize the data member when I create an object, and I call this function to initialize that. And you can see the second member function called as int get, so which is has been defined in the class itself. Hence, I'm not declaring or defining this outside the class with scope resolution operator. And so now in the main function, I'm creating an object for the class exp as e1, and I'm calling the member function set using the e1 object and a dot operator. So once I call this function, so this function will initialize the value of a as 0, and later on I'm printing the value of e1 using the get function, returning the value of a, and I'm going to print the value of a as 0 as the output. Okay, it's just a small C++ program, so which includes a class and data member function, the main function, the way we create the object, the way we are calling a member function, and the way we are going to use the scope resolution operator. Right. So now, just keeping this program as an example, now just look at this. Just look at this now. Fine. The same program have been modified. Fine. So the modification what I have been done here is, in the place of void set, I have used a function, a member function, so which right now we call this as a special function, because observe the class name and the function what I am going to declare now is going to be identical, or is going to be same. Fine. And it doesn't have any return type. Fine. So now this function, so now okay, I've just made a mistake over here. So there was supposed to be a semicolon. At the end of this function declaration. So make sure you note it down. Fine. So now with this as an special member function, now I'm defining this outside the class also, and you can observe I'm using return type here. I'm not using return type here. As the function name still remains as exp, the same as the class name. And one more observation you can just make down here, that is, I am calling the set function using the object e1, but here I'm not calling the constructor explicitly here. I'm not calling, or there's no any statement which is going to call the constructor. Hence we say the constructor will be called implicitly. I'm just going to make one more modification for this program. Not any big or major modification, or there is no much enhancement. The only enhancement what I have made here is, so instead of defining a constructor outside the class, I have brought the declaration or definition of a constructor inside a class. Right? And so now whatever this special function I'm talking about, now this exp is going to be called as a constructor. Hence, I can say that now a constructor is going to be a special function, a special member function. This is the one modification. Usually, when you're going to define a constructor, so make sure you define the constructor inside the class itself. It's a good practice. Rather than putting it outside the class, it's a good practice to define the constructor inside the class. Apart from this, even you can do this, but it's a good practice, right? So this is a good way of using constructor defining inside the class. Using this example, now note down and just know what is a constructor and how it's going to differ from other member functions. Fine. The very first point what I told, a constructor is a special member function. It is special because its name is identical to the class name, and the function name is same as class name. That is the word identical I'm talking about. And the constructor doesn't have any return type, as I mentioned. Implicit function call. So remember this. So as I told, nowhere I am having a statement to call a constructor. Hence, every constructor is going to be called implicitly. It's going to be called implicitly by the compiler when the execution is going to start. So now this constructor is going to be called by compiler, and the question is when it is going to be called. So note it down. It's a very important term. Every constructor will be called whenever you create an object or whenever you declare an object for a class. Now in this case, say exp e1, this is the time where the declaration or allocation of an object happens. Now this is the time where the constructor will be called. As soon as I create the object, the constructor will be called, and that is what we say. It is implicit function call which happens automatically whenever a object has been declared. So now this constructor can take any number of parameters. Right now it is taking 0 parameters, and that is what I'm mentioning. It can take any number of parameters. When I say any number of parameters, it can take 0 parameters, as in this case. It can take 1 parameter, 2 parameter, any number of parameters. But make sure it doesn't return anything, no return type. It can take any number of parameters starting from 0. Fine. And so now these are the few important points which you should remember with respect to constructor. And the thing what you should also know is usually you will see statements either in a website or some source or some textbooks. In some study materials you will come across such statements. Constructors are used for creation of object. It's totally wrong. Constructor will never create an object. Constructors are called after creation of an object or immediately whenever an object is created. Hence, the constructor will never create any object. Second important statements which usually we come across and which is wrong is constructor is usually used to initialization of data members. It may be true, but it's not the only purpose of the constructor to initialize a data member. We can put any sort of statements as a part of constructor body. Right? This, as I told you, the constructor is going to take any number of parameters. Depending upon the number of parameters or depending upon the type of parameters, now we are going to differentiate or create these types of constructors. The very first constructor is going to be the default constructor, then the zero argument constructor, which the example what we have seen, and a parameterized constructor which is going to take the parameters starting from 1 to any number, and a copy constructor. Fine. So right now I don't want to discuss about copy constructor and make the things complex. So we'll discuss about the copy constructor when we want to use this constructor. Right now I don't think we need this type of constructor, but remember there are 4 types of constructors starting from default, zero argument, parameterized, and copy constructor. Fine. So we'll see copy constructor later, and we will discuss these 3 types of constructors. Right. So now when I say default constructor, default in the sense we are not defining any constructor. So until now, whatever the program or whatever the class we have created or we have been using until now, or we have used as an example, every class what we defined, it had a default constructor, because a constructor must and should be called whenever we are going to create an object. If you don't define the constructor in the class, the compiler will make use of default constructor. It will call the constructor, right? Hence, so right now just look at this. Now I am creating a class. If you observe, there is no any special member function with the same name as the class. This means I am not declaring, I am not defining any constructor. And so now in the main function, if you observe, an object for the class exp has been created. Now whenever the object is created, the constructor should be called. Hence I have not created a constructor. Now this is the time where your compiler will call the default constructor, and which is going to look like this. Fine. This is a default constructor which is hidden behind a programmer scope. It is maintained and managed by your compiler. Hence, now it is the same name as the class and zero parameter and an empty body. Now this is what the default constructor is going to be. It's almost same as zero argument constructor, but if I don't define this, it becomes a default constructor. If I define this inside the class as a programmer, it becomes a zero argument constructor. Just look at this. So right now I'm defining the constructor now as exp, and if I don't put this statement, now this is similar to the default constructor, but I'm not going to call this as zero default constructor because it has been defined by me. Right now it is zero argument constructor because it's taking zero parameters. Fine. And so when I create an object even, now this object creation, when it calls a constructor, it is not going to call the default constructor. It is going to call the constructor what have been defined in the class. And so this is what we call this as zero argument constructor. Now this constructor can take the parameter. And so when the constructor takes a parameter, we are going to call this as parameterized constructor, where in this case I am using only one parameter to keep the thing simple. Hence it is taking one parameter, and whatever the parameter I'm going to assign this to x. So now observe one major difference and the important point as a difference which you should note. When I am using zero argument constructor, I am creating the object as usual what I was doing until now. But when I use a parameterized constructor, this is not the same case. Now when I create an object, so I am supposed to pass a parameter for this. I am supposed to pass a parameter, something like I am passing value 5 over here. Fine. So that is the value what I need to pass as a parameter. So this value 5 will be copied to this x. In turn, x is going to copy the same value to this k. So now I am using the constructor for initialization of data member. And as I mentioned, it is not the only purpose. Constructor is mainly used for initialization of data members, not the only purpose. Fine. And this is going to be parameterized constructor. So now default constructor is just a simple, do not define any constructor in your class. So you will be using default constructor. If you are defining a constructor with zero parameters, it becomes a zero argument constructor, and inside this body you can put any number of statements, any sort of statements, not only initialization, you can put anything. And these two are a simple parameters or simple constructors. Nothing to discuss more about this, but there is something which you should discuss about parameterized constructor. Hence, we will discuss about parameter constructor and what are things we should know about this. Fine. So now this parameterized constructor, as I mentioned, so now this constructor is the one which takes parameter either one or starting from any number of parameters. So hence when I'm doing this, now just look at this program. I've just slightly modified the program. The modification of what I've done here is I'm creating one more object called as E2. Now just observe. If I'm creating an object even with one parameter, I'm passing this as a value of x and assigning to this a. Now just observe here. No problem with this object even, but observe E2 here. Now E2 has no value. Now what happens? What constructor is going to call? If your answer is the default constructor, it's wrong. Once you define a constructor in your class, default constructor will never be used or accessed or called. Hence, don't think about a default constructor in this case. And even this cannot call this parameterized constructor because there is no parameter what I am passing. Hence, now this should end with an error. Hence, for this case, your C++ compiler will not allow you to execute this program. It's going to throw a syntax error because of this case. Either you need to pass a parameter for E2 if you are not planning, or if you intentionally don't want to pass any parameter for E2, then you should do some modification here, and that is what I'm doing. And this is an error, this is an wrong syntax. Hence I have been debug this, I have corrected this, and look at this. Same program, everything is same. The one modification what I've done here is I have defined an zero argument constructor. It is now similar to default constructor, but now this is not a default constructor. This is an zero argument constructor. Hence, we are going to have zero parameter and an empty body. Now see what happens. When I create E1, the parameterized constructor is called. When I create E2, the zero argument constructor is called. Now it is error-free code. And one thing what you want to note here is, so when I call E1, I'm assigning the value for A as 5. When I'm calling or creating E2, so I'm assigning no value for A, hence it will be assigned with a garbage value. If no garbage value, if the C++ compiler doesn't assign garbage value, it's going to be 0 in any other case. And one more thing, important thing, what you want to note here is that using constructor, you can make a note here. We are making use of function overloading. Same name, two functions with the same name but different parameter list, or this is going to be a unique signature, function signature. Hence the constructor is also can be used for function overloading or used with function overloading. This is the one thing which you should remember with the parameterized constructor. Hence, whenever you are going to use parameterized constructor, you need to compulsorily note it down. You need to compulsorily define a dummy zero argument parameter. If it's not dummy, you can make use of this zero argument constructor, but you need to make sure you put this as a dummy zero argument constructor. Right? So now this is an example of the constructor what I've just discussed. So now just look at this. I am using a parameterized constructor here. Hence, I am using a zero argument constructor as well, where I am initializing the value of A as 0. Hence, if this constructor is called, I am assigning the value of A as 0. If the parameterized constructor is called, I am assigning the value of X. And now, look at this. I am declaring an object E1 with the value 5. Hence, parameterized constructor is called. The value of A for the E1 object is 5. I am defining E2 object with no parameter, hence zero argument constructor is called with the value of A as 0. And I am creating an E3 object with the parameter -1. The parameterized constructor is called, value of A becomes -1. Hence I am printing the values of A of the object E1, E2 and E3, and this is the output what I am going to get. I am going to get value 5 for E1.get, and E2.get is 0 because the value of A is 0 due to the zero argument constructor had been called. And I'm going to get -1. because I'm passing -1 for the E3. Hence, by this you should be clear enough how to make use of constructor. We'll just look at the destructor now. We'll just look at destructor. So now, until now, whatever the constructor we have discussed, now this is going to be an another important or a special member function, what we can call, which is similar to the constructor. Now just look at this. The same program I have been modified. So where I have been making zero argument constructor with empty body, and I'm going to have a parameterized constructor where in this itself I'm printing the value of a, and this is what I was saying. A constructor can be used for any purpose, not only for initialization. And now this is what we call this as destructor. Now just observe the difference. Same class name, it's almost same, no return type, similar to constructor, and you can observe an tilde character. A tilde character should be a prefix of this function name. So if I'm going to have the function name same as the class name, it becomes a constructor, and the same class name as the function name but with the prefix of a tilde character, it becomes a destructor now. And now this destructor will not take any parameter. It doesn't take even a single parameter. It will be always a zero parameter itself. And so as we were defining, or we are having different types of constructor based upon parameter, so now you cannot have different types of destructor because destructor doesn't take any parameter. Hence there is only one destructor and zero argument destructor. Hence, so destructor is a special member function similar to constructor. Function name is same as class name, again similar to constructor. Function name is prefixed with a tilde character, and this is the one major difference. Which you should observe. No return type, similar to a constructor. Implicit function call. So now this is what. So now even a constructor is called automatically. Similarly, a destructor is also called automatically. What we call this as an implicit function call. So now this destructor is called when then? When the compiler calls this automatically when this destructor is called. Hence, it is exactly the opposite of constructor. Constructor is called when I create a object, and the destructor is called when the object is destroyed. Now the when is the object destroyed, then at what point of time the object will be destroyed? And there are 2 points where the object will be destroyed. First point, whenever the object will go out of the scope. Either I am ending the execution with the end of the main function, or I am coming out of any function call where the object was created. That is, whenever the object will go out of scope, we call this as destroying the object. The second way of destroying the object is using a delete keyword, which we will see it further, the further classes, but we can delete or destroy an object using a delete operator. So we'll see it later, but destructor is called whenever an object is destroyed. Hence, when the object will go out of scope. Hence, so the destructor is called on object going out of scope. And as I told you, destructor will not take any parameter. Hence, there is no parameter. And some statements which usually come across, that destructor is used to deallocate a object or a data member. This is totally wrong. Destructor can be used for any purpose. So you need to make sure what should happen when the object is about to destroy, or what should happen after the destruction of an object. All those statements can be part of a destructor. Hence, an sample program, an example program with respect to destructor. So now just look at over here. We are going to have class exp with the constructor, a zero argument constructor, and we are going to have a parameterized constructor, and we are going to have an destructor, and we are going to have even with phi and creating an object here, and the constructor should be called. Yes, as you have guessed, parameterized constructor is called, parameterized constructor is called, and a zero argument constructor is called. Hence, so now when I create even, when I create even, so int x has been replaced with 5, the value of a is 5, I should print the value of a immediately as 5. And e2 is called, I'm going to pass the value as 8, and 8 is assigned to a, and immediately I should be able to print the value of a. Hence, I should be able to print the value of 5 first, then 8, then e3 is called with 0 argument. Now there is no any value assigned here, hence it's going to be a garbage value. Some garbage value should be printed over here. And once this execution is done, look at here, the execution is going out of main function. This is what we call out of scope, and so now the destructors are called. And remember, the destructor is called exactly in a reverse order. If the constructor is called for e1, e2, e3, the destructor will be called in reverse order for e3, e2, e1. It's going to be in reverse order. Hence, I'm going to get the output 5 for the constructor of E1, 8 for the constructor of E2, a garbage value for the constructor of E3. And right now the program will go out of scope and the object is destroyed, and the destructor is called in reverse order. Hence, the destructor of E3 is called with the garbage value of A, and the destructor of E2 is called with the value of 8, and the destructor of E1 is called with the value as 5. This is how the constructor and destructor is going to work. So I hope you are clear with the destructor and the constructor. So let me summarize this. The constructor and destructor are special member functions, and the function name is same as the class name for the constructor, but in the case of destructor, just you need to prefix with a tilde character. So no return type for both the constructor and destructor, but in case of destructor, there is no parameter also, but for constructor we can pass a parameter. Constructor can take any number of parameters. Constructor is called whenever the object is created. Destructor is called whenever object is destroyed. So without defining zero argument constructor, as I mentioned, parameterized constructor should not be defined. Keep this in mind. So destructor is called exactly in the reverse order of what the constructor was at its call order. And this is what you should know all about the constructor and destructor. So make sure you remember all these points so that we can use this constructor and destructor even with the Java program or when we are trying to discuss about Java application too. Thank you for listening to this lecture video.